Over the last couple of days, a stock which has really started to see some upwards momentum is Soundhound. Just look at what we're seeing on the 1 day, on the 5 day charts over here with this company. Share price going from really on the 7th of August, $10.95, all the way up to highs well in excess of $13 or $14. Now though, the question is, where do we go from here? After securing a gain of nearly 30% in the last couple of days. Well, in this video we're going to be covering all of that. I'm going to be giving you my personal opinions, and we're also going to be looking at some of the main factors driving this and what this means for the business's future and the share price. Now, if this sounds like a good episode to you, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and of course do share it if you can. Again, it's massively appreciated if you are enjoying the content. But let's get straight into this. And first I want to give you guys the context. Let's talk about what's actually going on. Well, Soundhound AI is surging after upbeat earnings and raised forecasts. The latest is simply this. Soundhound has jumped by 32.4% on Friday as the artificial intelligence firm reported second quarter results that beat expectations and raised its full year revenue target guidance, which is of course because of strong demand mainly across the automotive, restaurant and retail sectors. The company has posted narrower than expected losses of 0.05 cent per share, or 5 cents per share, I should say, compared to the Wall Street estimates of a 10-cent loss. Revenue doubled year over year to $34.5 million, topping the $33.66 million consensus. Now, it is said that they had a breakthrough year, expanding their leadership position in voice conventional AI through major customer wins, expanding partnerships, and groundbreaking generative AI innovation and strategic acquisitions. This is what the CEO has told shareholders. Soundhound raised its full-year revenue forecast to a range of 160 to 178 million, up slightly from the previous guidance of 157 to 177 million. At the midpoint, this would represent an annual growth rate of nearly 100%, 97%, underscoring continued momentum across multiple industries despite a competitive and uncertain macroeconomic backdrop. At the same time, we are hearing analysts at Wedbush calling the results solid and raising their price targets on the stock from $16 to $16 from $15, citing confidence in Soundhound's growth trajectory. Quote, the company continues to see increased momentum across all verticals, driven by new logo wins and increased cross-sell deals, the firm wrote. The gross margin for the company improved 58.4%, which is very, very good, and you can see all of the figures right here. Overall, things looking very decent in terms of the figures, but that's just a brief rundown. Let's have a look at how the share is actually performing, how the stock is actually performing. And to this, I want to give you again that brief rundown. Now, in the past month, we are seeing things start to change, right? Things start to move in the right direction. Generally, from the start of the month until about really the 1st of August, so the last 30 days, let's say, we're seeing a downtrend, down by about 17%. However, when we factor in this recent gain, we're now up 10% on the last 30 days. The last 6 months, it's important to say, since really April, we've been starting to see that momentum actually shift in the right direction, as even before this recent increase, up 40% from the lows in that month. So things are looking good now. Now we're up 88% factoring in this new price rise. The question is, where do we go from here? And of course, that's something that a lot of people are wondering. And again, the broad trend over the last couple of years for the company has also been really moving in the right direction. Where are things going next, and what do we expect for the next couple of days and weeks for this business and their share price? Well, before we dive into this, I need to say, of course, I am not a financial advisor, and I'm basing this off of my personal opinions. What I'm going to be giving you is the things that I'm looking for on the upside, on the downside, and where I personally am expecting or predicting this company may go in the event of either a rise in price or a decrease in price. This will allow me to reassess based on how things play out, and of course, it gives us some guidance, right? Of course, do your own research, but here's my opinions. So obviously, starting out on the last trading day, we have seen that price really skyrocket all the way up to 14.20, 14.23, something like that, and then we obviously have seen it dip slightly. But after that, we struggled really to break past that point. The highest that we got to was 14.14 roughly. However, we have seen supports around the level of 14.60, 14.65, within this channel, right? On the high end, maybe 13.80, on the low end, 13.50 or 13.60. But the question is, are we able to maintain this going forwards? Now, a level that has previously worked as support for us here has been the 1344 mark, roughly. If we can see this hold into the next trading day, things could be potentially looking good for this period. However, if we continue to drop past that and then looking to go as low as potentially 1340, just slightly below that mark, right? Just a little bit lower, and that would of course represent a previous support on the day. If we are not able to maintain that, we could be looking to drop significantly lower, but we'll get to that in a second. Now on the upside, obvious levels to break above, we are having difficulty really even getting above about 1363, 1364. This has previously been a support, but now appears to be working as a little bit of a resistance towards the end of the day. Break past that, we could be looking to go as high, in my opinion, as maybe 1380. Obviously, next levels to break from there are going to be going up as high as a $14 mark, 1410, 1420, past 1425 to potential new highs of the upcoming trading week. However, at the same time, it's important, and I always say this, to zoom out. Look at this massive gap that we have seen, right? It wouldn't necessarily, in my opinion, be unexpected to see this drop a little bit. And this is where I would personally play it a little bit cautious if I was looking to trade this company, at least for the next few days. You know, with a increase like this, it's going to be very, very difficult to say right now whether we're either A, going to be able to maintain those initial levels, or B, we could see this continue to drop slightly, because again, with such a significant rise, especially in the past month, you know, relative, it's very difficult to say where our next support could be. Now, historically, earlier in the month or the past period, we have seen levels roughly around 1280 work as a support here, and we've seen it work as a resistance here. It was actually a resistance here, I should say. A resistance here, and then just below that we have seen a support slightly lower, about 1250, and again that resistance round about that 1280, 1290 mark also here. So if that can double down to become our new support, we could be looking at good things. However, at this stage, it is very, very difficult to say. For me personally, as to what I would do with this one looking forwards, I'd be looking at those key levels, but realistically, I would not be buying in the next day or two. I'd actually be waiting probably for a week or so, just to see how things play out. Again, if we see my levels continue to stand up, that's good stuff, but with such a massive increase, you know, it wouldn't be unprecedented, i.e. here, and arguably here, like we've seen, to see this one obviously go up, like it has, and then potentially fall slightly. You know, we need to find and establish whether that support level is going to hold, and whether we can ultimately remain at these levels. So, the company's outlook looks good. I think long-term things on the table do look very good. However, in the short term, we've got to factor in this, right? Nearly a 30% rise. This is a significant jump for a short period of time. So we have to factor this in when we're looking at the price of the companies of shares. But realistically, I'm going to be waiting on this one for the next few days, and I'll be giving you a later update with how things play out. Thank you for your time. If you have a different opinion, or if you like this video, of course, do make sure to let me know in the comment section, give us a like and subscribe, and I hope I will see you again. Goodbye for now, see you soon.